good. How are you? Sorry about that.
Great. No, you're good. You're fine. I'm actually gonna message you anyway because I needed some time to like wipe soap like off of my hands because I'm all like and I'm surrounded by bubbles right now and this happens every single time like I'm trying to record.
Oh my gosh.
You need like a little pencil, like one of those like pencils that has like the
I need a javelin honestly because like I cannot reach anything from like the center of this tub.
those like pinchy things that you get the stuff from the top of the
Anything like those trash collector things. Like yeah,
sign me up, all of it. Anything and anything, all of it.
I'm
That's
all
so
about
funny.
it. So, I'm super excited to talk to you. I read through like everything you sent me, and you have been like a part of like pretty much my childhood growing up. Literally all of MTV. That was my life, okay? Continues to run through my veins. I think that actually made me venture into reality TV for a bit, but
Okay.
I didn't like the show I was on. It was like I mean, I liked the staff and everything. The producers, everyone like was amazing. I just didn't like I mean, I like the concept. It was like kind of like an online dating type of experience, which is like kind of cool with like quarantine and everything. But like the people there, oh my God, like drama, like the 0.5 seconds in. And I just like wasn't ready for that. I thought like, okay, well, maybe like everyone will be nice. Nope, everyone is in like Viper mode. And I was just like, you know what? It's fine because I'm from Jersey. We handle things the Jersey way. It's all good, but like sweet.
First off, I'm from Staten Island, but pretty much
Okay, you're from Staten.
so
So
like we do things sweet, but we also don't do things on camera. Like I was
right.
shook when the Housewives of New Jersey did what they did on camera. I was shook.
I'm
Wait,
I'm
what
traumatized.
show were you on?
I was on Couple TV. It was in beta for like the first 2 seasons. I got on season 3 and um my friends usually like to refer to me as like the Sammy sweetheart of like the group just because I don't know, they say that I like kind of look like her and like in ways like I kind of like act like her and talk. I love her, so
I
I'm like
love
no,
Sammy
I'm not
Sweetheart,
mad
of
about it
course.
at all, but
Yeah, she's like the pinup girl of like the late MTV. Right after I left MTV, if there's one talent that I wish I could have gotten a chance to meet and work with, it's definitely Sammy
Sammy
Sweetheart.
sweetheart. I
Yeah.
wish you the best. But yeah, reality TV, that was a ball. I mean, like if I were to do it again, like I would want to be on like, I don't know, like Real Housewives of, I don't know, Dubai. Give me a
Okay.
Dubai prince or something.
All
I could
right.
handle that. I could handle that.
Are you married now?
No.
No.
No. No. Single.
Scarred.
A little bit.
Yeah, right.
Just yeah, I don't
Enjoying the
know.
summer.
I'm very picky with my dating choices, with my dating life, and probably another reason why like my first like venture into reality TV didn't go so well because in my head I was rejecting every single person. I was just like, no. I mean, I had to choose some people just to like keep the show going and like help me stay, but at the same time it was just like
Did you ever see that show growing up called Next? Remember there was like 5 people in the bus and like she would
no.
be out. It was like a dating show that would come on after TRL, and she would come out and she would have a one-on-one date. If it wasn't going well, she can call Next at any time, and then somebody else would come out of the bus, and they sort of she would have her shot until she sort of got it right. But it sounds interesting when the selection process isn't like your favorite part of dating, and oftentimes dating is all about the selection process.
It really is. And the thing is like, I think we were confined because we had to talk to each person for like 3 minutes straight. So, I mean, 3 minutes isn't a long time, but
It's not a marriage. It's not about a relationship or a marriage or a second date. I worked on Millionaire Matchmaker. It's those shows are all about first impressions, first reactions,
exactly.
first group, and all of the all the fun things we just happened on the first iteration. But I had a couple of marriages come out of my season. of Millionaire Matchmaker, and I brought Leah McSweeney to Bravo, which ultimately she became a housewife that got
That's
fired.
literally amazing.
Known
Oh
as the
my God.
housewife that got that ruined the Housewives of New York franchise. I love her so much. I love her. Her and Tinsley too. How lucky I was to grow up in New York with like strong women like that in the tertiary, while I'm doing shows like Osbourne's and Newlyweds and TRL and The Hills and Laguna and like all those shows that I knew were making impact, but had no clue how relevant they would be this much later.
It all comes back around.
It's the nice part about it. That's why I like talking about the quote unquote good old days of MTV when I was there, the late 90s, early 2000s of pop culture, because that's like a shared experience. I think that a lot of people that I connect with can relate to. And the only reason why I can talk to it is because I was there. And I'm not saying I was an expert, but like, I was in the room for like the craziest conversations.
And I want you to talk more about that. Like, share literally as much as you want. You know what I did to prepare myself for this interview today? I literally watched Punk'd. I watched Pimp My Ride. I watched Cribs. I watched everything that I could just to refresh my memory.
Oh, I love it. What are you singing? Is there a song that's stuck in your head? Is there like an Avril Lavigne song that's stuck in your head? Or
Avril Lavigne is just literally one of my, I don't know. She's like an extension of myself. She's a Libra, just like me.
Yeah. I thought we were about to say something negativo.
No, what?
But she's literally she's like the unsung hero of pop.
She's like an extension of myself. I don't know how else to like.
Her and Ashlee Simpson in my book of awesomeness. They will always be up at the very of awesomeness that didn't quite get the awesomeness due respect that they were deserved.
But you know what? I think it's better to be more like low key later on, because like they still made like an undeniable impact to the point where it's like if anyone mentions like either of their names, people are gonna be like, oh my God, I know who she is. Like, you don't even.
They were so good that I haven't even had a hit as big as those, and my name is still relevant just because of those early hits. But you know what? I got to be a part of talent at that stage of the game. Celebrities, artists, they were the only. Not even Ashton Kutcher doesn't include in this. Artists were the only people who were actually creating content that no one asked for, putting their own money into it that no one else was putting money. Like you and I are creators.
Yeah.
Very similar to what artists did back then. Now, when Ashton took the leap and got to MTV, it was a learning curve for him. I mean, he on one level, he didn't want to be seen as an MTV VJ. On the other level, he knew that participating in his show would help make it a hit. Right. And what he wanted was to show Hollywood and the entertainment industry in the world that he could produce hit TV series. And he really did.
Yeah, and he also kind of like added that like behind the scenes kind of like layer at times, or he would kind of mention
modern. That's like literally the modern creator. That's us talking about strategy and
exactly.
5-tune, save this because you're gonna want this music later. Like
exactly.
Ashton would be rolling in his pop culture grave.
I love how he went about it though. He was such a natural.
His way.
So funny.
His way to do it though. He worked. I don't know this for a fact, but I would say tireless, sleepless nights. I know him well enough to know that he put a lot of thought into how could he show up without being seen as he did not. So him and Dax Shepard did not want to be seen as hosts coming out of Punk'd. In fact, there was a lot of sensitivity to being on MTV at that stage of the game because the brands that were Mandy Moore and some of the brands that were being Jessica Simpson that were kind of being propelled and launched from MTV had a strong MTV association with them. So Dax was really sensitive about doing anything outside of Punk'd, and Ashton almost didn't want to be on camera. But I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did. And the benefit to that is you shoot it. And if you don't like it, if you don't like it, don't show the network, then they won't see it. But don't tell them I said that.
For me, it kind of just made it seem like he was like a YouTuber before YouTube came out. Yeah. He was like the first, like I guess Jake Paul. I don't even watch Jake Paul, but like I feel like he was like the first one to ever pioneer like YouTube pranking before YouTube even was there, and he made it. He integrated like his own personality, his own experiences, but in a way that wasn't like imposing on anyone. He just wanted to like prank people, prank his friends.
Yeah, the thing about Punk'd was about the narrative. It was, how could you believe any of the, like, come on, how did you believe that
That's one of my questions too. Like, to what extent did the people who were being punked know?
Oh no. In fact, if we found out that the artist knew about it, he would have us cancel it. He wouldn't let us go through with it. He was really strict about that.
Oh, that's good.
It was my job at the network to be the person to call up the artist when the artist got mad and didn't want to sign the release. It was my job to call him up and see what we could do and how we could smooth things over. And I want to hear you, because obviously if something didn't happen correctly, and like, I'm not calling on behalf of having a relationship of MTV with talent, but my job at talent development was to listen to the talent community. So what better way than like through, and it was a really close personal connection to talent. And that's what my department had built into how we operated differently than any other talent department at MTV. We didn't go through the label. We didn't go through management. My boss and I had direct relationships with talent, and we would listen. And we would bring those ideas in to people who were far more experienced than us. And then from that, Rod came up with the real world with the Osbournes, and that's what became the Osbournes. And
that's amazing.
And with Jessica Simpson, it was all, with Jess, we almost hired her to be a VJ back in the day, but sticking to another sea. But reading cue cards is a lot more difficult than it is.
I have terrible eyesight, so me reading cue cards is.
No, but Mandy Moore was a pro at reading cue cards and being authentic. So she was the clear person to hire in the late 90s as like the face of like that young teen music scene that was kind of coming in.
I listened to her growing up.
What a fun era.
I really loved. Yeah, I had her whole CD. Her first CD, I think, the one with Candy. Yeah.
Candy? Yeah. So good.
I saw her Punk'd episode too, where she demoed a house.
She was on the first. So a fun known fact is that she and Justin Timberlake were the first two punks that we ever did.
Really?
So Ashton had a connection with Justin's mom, so played that off, and we had the connection with Mandy. But by the way, I was like Mandy's point person at the network, and like I got to work the closest. They didn't tell me about the show. They knew that if I found out about this, I would tell her. Heck yeah, I would tell her. She's like my 16-year-old little sister. I'm telling her everything, man. Like I want her to know more than anything in the room, and pretend like you don't know anything so that you have the upper hand advantage at all times. This is how it works in the industry. Literally, this is what I was like. This is what they're trying to get you to do. Here's what they're going to say to you. You figure out, where you want to land, and tell me what I can do.
Tell her too. That can be a lot for a 16-year-old to go through.
A lot. By the way, she was like 15 even when she got her first show on MTV, a baby. So couldn't. I mean, 15 and hosting. How about like 16 and pregnant? Like, talk about like different decades at MTV, right?
MTV has done like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they have.
For better or for worse, like.
Well, so have we, right? For better or for worse.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about working at MTV, though, for me was television. Was people watched it. It's weird to say this, but like now you'll understand it. Every day for me on TRL was like the Super Bowl. So many people were watching it that if anything happened in that hour, people talked about it in my real life throughout the week.
Yeah.
And I say the Super Bowl because it was like this big global moment. Bands broke up and announced tours and announced premiered videos and did, got married, and they did big things between 3:30 and 4:30, because that's when MTV had access to go live to the world ultimately, where people could be on the same page and get information at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think about like social media and like what was to me, the demise of TRL was probably more like YouTube Apple, and Apple Music than anything else, technology. But it was working at a network when TV mattered and TV really moved the needle.
I want TV to matter again because I can't even tell you how tired I am. And I'm an Instagram influencer, okay? I can't tell you how sick I am of Instagram now and like how it feels like I'm just posting into like a black hole and it just...
It's your soul.
It really is. It's like a never-ending, like, soul-sucking cycle, and like I really miss. I mean, I kind of get how they're trying to integrate like TV into social media, kind of with like IGTV, Reels.
Did you see that? Are you on Be Real yet? Have you heard of the new social network called Be Real?
No.
BEREAL. Download it later.
Okay.
It's in the App Store. It's pretty cool, actually. For some reason, it's gained some traction in my group of friends and some interesting group. And you connect to like real friends, close to close. But the interesting thing about it is you can only post once a day. It tells you when you're allowed to post, and you can have a 2-window hour of when to post, and everyone kind of posts at the same time. So there's kind of this like group feeling to what's happening.
That's cute.
What's everyone doing? And I just got wind on Twitter that Instagram is thinking of this feature too called the Reels Challenge, where you'll have like 2 hours. That's what television did. That social media quite didn't do. Remember there on social media there was this show, oh God, HQ, was that the name of it? 4 years ago, I would say, who knows, because of the pandemic, 3 years ago. And I think it was 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the middle of the day, we'd go on the app, we'd answer the questions, we'd all play live, and some of us would win money if we got it right, but we only played it once. And it's almost kind of like that game, oh my gosh, what's the one that they play that's like Boggle, that the New York Times just bought, that came out, and you have to guess the 5-letter word. Wordle. Yeah, Wordle. And so and so everyone has to play it live in one day because it has. So, but that's what TV had that social doesn't, is the immediacy, of you'd go into school. When you were in school, you go in and you say, did you see the premiere of the video? Did you see what Lauren and I told you Kristin was gonna get, you know what I mean? Like,
I missed that.
Me too.
Because now there's no glue anymore to like really bind people to. Like who the hell is gonna walk into school and be like, did you see like so-and-so's Instagram post yesterday? Like, it's so weird, and
that is what we talk about, right?
It is.
I guess.
It is, but that's, I guess, because is that kind of like TV's fault right now? Because now whenever I go on MTV, it's literally ridiculousness all the time.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah,
because you watch it. That's why. That's the problem. There used to be, when I was at MTV, there was a show called Say What Karaoke, and we were always like, why does the show always come back? We're always shooting Say What Karaoke episodes. We feel like no one watches it. No one watched it, but everyone talked about it. And then, but the numbers did show that people watched it. Long story short, first off, ridiculousness is short. People can rewatch those episodes over and over and over again. So for MTV, it's really dirt cheap. They have the studio, they have the screens, they're paying Rob, there's a couple of guests that come in. All the rest of it is licensing, right? So you probably shoot 5 episodes a day. Back when I was at MTV, we would shoot 5 episodes of Say What Karaoke. That's a 30-minute game show. You could definitely do a 30-minute ridiculousness in less than an hour. So you're shooting 5 of those a day, probably 4 days a week, probably 3 weeks or 4 weeks every other month. Probably, I imagine. So it's very easy to shoot that much content, but it's also when you're re-airing them 100 times. And that's all. Think about all the times that re-airs and there's commercials in the middle, and that's really what drives MTV. So it's really about, TV's turned into this game of retention. How long can we, and it always has been, it's an advertising driven creative medium. How much can we get people to watch TV? That's the goal. How much can we get them to watch TV? what I loved about TV was how much can I move the needle? How much can I take these two audiences, combine them together and create community? How can I launch an artist using television? So reality TV for me was always like this like tool that I used to sort of get what I needed done to get done. Meaning I got to bring awareness to somebody. I got to show people, I got to bring in unique opportunities that were layered because there was going to be visibility. You know, like if you had a contract, I could say, well, if we did a show, if you signed a contract, is that going to help you get the contract? Because then it triggers the show, which triggers more album sales.
Yeah.
How Ashlee Simpson got her show. When we knew that she was about to get the deal, we were like, now's the time. Because there were so many artists that came to us as they were about to like start pushing their album. They're like, okay, we're getting ready to come out. And we're like, no, we missed it. Gotta start from
Timing's
scratch.
everything. It really is.
Gotta start from scratch. And I'll tell you what though, and it was cool. And I got to work on killer shows, and The Hills and Laguna Beach went on. And bringing Will.i.am out to MTV. I brought Nick Cannon from Nickelodeon to MTV and got to be in the team that did that. And I fought really hard for TJ Lavin to be the host of the challenge. So big ups to Tej. But it's like, but seeing what Mandy Moore has done with that opportunity, like seeing what some of these huge giant stars have done with the opportunity MTV gave them, it makes me giddy to think of like what we were doing back then. And I have to thank you for watching it.
Of course.
And making that, you know, even a thing, you know what I mean? And I do think that reality TV spawned, you know, and a lot of creator careers. It's the first time you saw people professionally being themselves outside of a host, right? Like even Geraldo and some of the Montel, some Ricky, some of like the late night shows, they were like reporters, news with a little bit of personality. When Suchin Pak came to MTV, her background became part of the story. Who she was and how she was receiving this news became part of the story. With Sway and with Gideon Yago, like I think about that, like how only at MTV would they say, okay, let's bring in your cultural background because that changes the story and let that be part of the narrative. And
Yeah,
that's cool.
it
That's
definitely
all right,
adds.
MTV.
Yeah, honestly, it needs to come back because it needs to, because I feel like we've kind of like shut that out or maybe like replaced it a little bit, because obviously like when I think of reality TV now, obviously, you know, like the Kardashians come to mind, and then who else? Like that's pretty much it, you know? Like I feel like we're just so inundated lately, like with stars whom, I mean, we can keep up with their lives, but because we've already kind of covered like so much of like their past, I feel like the only things that we can really focus on are just like these temporary like distractions, like fashion, which I love fashion, but at the same time, it's just so like, it's so fleeting. Like I guess I don't know. I really feel like the loss of television is something that is destroying the world.
I think that podcasts are in a really good position to help save broadcast. You know, if you think of broadcast as syndicating a network, syndicating a signal broadly cast through a broad network, versus podcasting, which are singular pods of audio being cast through a very narrow sort of thing. But I think that narrow casting, like podcasting and social media, I think narrow casting can evolve into broadcasting because you're using the same distribution. So like what I mean by all this is like, you know, right now we're getting a local version of programming. So our commercials are being tailored to us based on the city that we live in, maybe some of us based on the cable packages that we have. And I think that there's another way that audience can be fractured that can allow broadcast networks to use that signal in a way that allows for more group broadcasting, but in a narrower sort of margin or demo.
How do you like podcasting compared to your work on television?
Oh, they're both equally exciting and exhausting, but they're very complementary. The stuff I'm making in podcast easily translates into broadcast content. At one point or another, maybe if the story isn't strong enough, maybe if the case isn't strong enough, maybe the case load becomes, the TV narrative, and the case itself is just strong enough for a podcast if we're talking about like true crime or something. But I think that podcasting, in my 25 years of being in TV, I've made thousands of casting tapes and talent reels and show sizzles. And I think that podcasts are a really cool version of all of those, things that make TV shows, except you can take action on it. And also, if it's successful, it's intellectual property that I own. So I've been in TV a bit, and I've been in the I call it like the public sector of media, in the because they're publicly owned companies. Most of them are, except for like A&E History, that Lifetime, there's a family owned them. But A&E, Disney, Fox, CBS, these are publicly traded companies. So we the people are invested in them. We the people want our earnings. Where do the earnings come from? Advertising. What are they? So it's a very advertising driven model. So for podcasting, I stay really far away from advertising as possible. I don't want to be at the discretion of an advertising schedule. In fact, I had 18 episodes I turned off, and then a year later, I'm now publishing, episodes again. And in the meantime, I recorded over 100 podcast guesting episodes where I got to practice being a host. And I've been interviewing celebrities my whole life, but like my job in TV was to edit my voice out of the tape.
Yeah.
So like, it's just you know what the experience is like. But for people who haven't, you sit in a room with someone like me, we interview, we talk back and forth, and I basically cut my voice out and make you have this beautiful monologue that tells this great story. And I throw in photos and videos, and
you can curate it to your liking,
and that's what I decided to do with podcasting. So I have a conversation, because I used to get really in my head about like performing. So I thought I can't meet people on my podcast. Me too.
I also took a hiatus from Tub Time. Like this was realistically, this is supposed to be like my 50th episode, like considering when I started, but really right now I'm on episode 5. So.
Good. Focus on impact. That's the thing that matters, right? Growth, impact. And by the way, how many people complained or argued that there weren't new episodes? Like not one person said anything. They were like, I can't wait to see what's next. But no one pushed me, because I didn't have an advertiser that I had to, appease. But I love working with sponsors. I found so by the way, I create my podcast. I have these interviews with celebrities that I've worked with. I take that content and I cut it up, and I get paid by Maverick, the influencer platform Maverick, to post on my Facebook Reels. I get paid for some live streaming audio, and I use all that from my podcast. So how do I get paid from it? I don't necessarily get paid from my podcast, but the stuff I'm getting paid for, I use my podcast content to satiate those content needs. And that's really my bigger need, is my content, my podcast, because I want to get my message and my experience out there and share with people, what I was going through and what I saw and what I heard and how I understood pop culture come to be, because we can certainly learn from that.
I think it's extremely important to be able to have a position where you can speak as freely as you want to about all of these experiences that could help so many people with their lives and what direction that they want to go in, especially if they are looking for some guidance. I know, especially as a girl, it actually sucks to get into the industry because you're so worried about people trying to take advantage of you. I mean, obviously this goes for everyone, but I'm just speaking like from my own experience. Like, it's just been like, you have to like really know who to listen to, and by listening to, like, that's the power of podcasting. Like, the power of podcasting is like, you're giving a space for people to actually just like sit down, listen, really think about what's being said and then like make like an informed decision based on what they just heard. And it's not always easy. I mean, like you have like horrible people like Andrew Tate. I don't even want to say his name, but damn it, I said his name. But I mean, he just got deplatformed recently, but he's another example of reality TV, like, well, I guess gone like wrong, but he's like the only example I can really think of like reality TV like gone like really wrong. But other than that,
there's been some good covers from networks. I'll just put it that way. There's been, but, you know, people, you know, like moth to a flame. People are attracted to,
they're attracted to
the glory and the controversy of it all. And there's a lot of awkward things that propel them. Look, I want to acknowledge what you said about being a female in this industry. And you're not wrong to say that you have a unique experience to go through. To that, I'd like to say, you know, podcasting is a great way to get to know if you're right about people or not. To be like, if you don't know if you're gonna vibe with somebody, podcast with them, because that kind of like, it's not the best version of it. A 40-minute dialogue is not the best version of them. You're going to get the real them. The other thing that's cool about podcasting is that you actually are afforded the opportunity. Like, you might not know what it's like to be in a closed room with me, with, you know, two people being creative, talking back and forth, and what's it going to be like, and are you scared to work with me, and how do this hopefully gives you an example of like,
no, you're really chill. I already had like good vibes like going into this. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do Tough Time with Vinnie. It's gonna be a good day. And like I've had like a fabulous day. So.
I got my tea ready. I put on my blue lights in the background.
I had my tea earlier. I put like a little honeycomb in there, and it was just amazing.
Honeycomb.
I need my honeycomb. Just call me Winnie the Pooh. Like I'm.
Oh bother. Oh bother. But isn't that cool about reality TV that not only does it let you like, it gives you a unique opportunity to do something in a certain a heightened way, which is what changes your life, but what changes your reality, the perception of your reality is when that airs, and sometimes. So just to go back to what you were saying, you know, you're going to meet people that you get being on one-on-one situations, and podcasting like this is safe. Also, like have a buddy system, have someone of the same sex and opposite sex to always be able to bounce off of ideas and energy. Different perspectives really, really matter. And I shouldn't say just those two sexes, but you know, any of the diverse ways that you can sort of bring people into your life to sort of feel the energy and support you, and have those people in your life already. Don't wait for something to happen. Don't wait to be suspicious. Have a great group of people around you that allow you, that enable you to question, that afford you the ability to say, well, hold up, I'm going to go meet this casting director. Where? Like, what is that? And please, and by the way, anyone listening to this, DM me if you ever have a question about casting directors or legitimacy of anything. I love looking into things like this and helping people, because I hate when missed opportunities happen, and there are a lot of them because of misrepresentation of casting, and a lot of people made my former industry very murky. But you know, I'm the guy that's looking for I got to hire, create news departments, change people's lives through reality TV. So, and I got to train and or work with almost, I'd say a good ton of people that are still doing it now. So.
Exactly, and everyone, this man has won an Emmy, so.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure.
Thanks for that. By the way, the coolest thing about winning the Emmy is that the thing that I did, and I won my Emmy last year, my first Emmy last year, 25 years in being TV. Thank you. I did one thing that I've never done before. I applied. So annoying. I'm so annoying at this thing. Don't even get me started. But like, I literally applied. Like I literally figured out what the application process was, when the deadline was, what project I needed to work on, and I worked on a project that would validate and be qualified for that opportunity. And I went out and got it. So I just want to let people know that no one's walking around handing out Emmys and Oscars and Tellys and communicator awards and podcast awards. By the way, I have a list of those. Come to vpe.tv. Oh, here comes the show. vpe.tv, right? And I have a list of platforms that you need to know about to help you be successful in this, for sure.
That's amazing. Shit, I'll check it out.
Yeah. I also have over 50 influencer marketing platforms, creator platforms that I ask people to be aware of, because there's so much money out there for creators. Podcasters, for some reason, don't like to be called creators or influencers.
Why?
I don't get it.
I guess I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it, because like nowadays it is kind of a stereotype. Because I mean,
well, that's where the money is.
No,
that's where the money is. Did you know why?
That is where the money is.
Facebook and Instagram did a good job at opening up their demographics and analytics, and allowed businesses to build KPIs that they understood. But that's going to go away. Podcasters have a stronger audience over 1 year than most of the TikTokers who have 1 million followers after 1 week, by the way. So there's no doubt. And the numbers that they're also 17 billion. I think the creator economy this year should be up to be $17 billion. 75% of that creator economy is going to TikTok. So if anyone is saying, oh, I don't know if I should go on TikTok or not, let me repeat those numbers again. 17 billion, 70% going to TikTok. So like, look, y'all, you want to know why I'm not in TV anymore? The money's not there. The audience isn't there. That's cool. I gotta go work on my talk.
I'll just become a TikTok wife. It's fine. I don't need to become a Dubai housewife anymore.
Just bypass. Yeah, right. By the way,
it's all good.
If that's what you have to do, then God bless, right? If that's
honestly, like, why not?
It's hysterical. We should pitch that show to Bravo. Like,
please. Actually, that's a really good idea.
Really, because they have like the housewives, but what about like the becoming a housewife? Like, and also there are these like, isn't there like this like idea? This is a weird thing, but don't some parents, or maybe this is a cultural thing, maybe there are some parents that will send their kids away for like the baby, like to go find the love of your life. I know my mom suggested. They go find the love of your life.
I know my mom suggested it.
There must be a mixture somewhere here where there's like,
there is some cultural dimension to it, because like that's definitely been brought up in my house before.
Yeah, they're like, they want to organize it. Like they think that if they pay for it, it's gonna happen. Meanwhile,
literally. And the funniest part is that they'll never tell me who the guy is. They'll never even say his name, which I think is pretty reality TV-ish of them, because like it adds like a little layer of mystery.
Did you have a Sweet 16 or?
I had a Sweet 17 at a mansion. It was ballin'.
That was like appropriate for then, right? Like that's one of the shows that people, when I got to MTV, being from Staten Island, they were like, well, this isn't real, right? I'm like, oh yeah, this is like that's very normal. That's like a very
it's pretty normal.
Yeah, that's kind of in the tri-state area. Who knew, by the way? It was so funny. I was like, wait, only we do that? That's like the weirdest thing. Not me, but I went to public school. So some of my friends were of means and had like fancy car phones.
No, like I don't like to label Gen Z as like materialistic or anything like that, because I actually think they're pretty tame compared to like things that I used to like splurge on. Like my 17th birthday party, I don't know what I was doing, like wearing like a mesh black gown with like not gold, silver, like sequins and everything. Like what? Like, and just making my parents rent out a mansion from like 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then just going home and eating like birthday cake, like
and cotton candy.
Cotton candy, like, can I go back?
Yeah, I know. Like everything you're saying sounds kind of wonderful, actually. Except for like it smells like smoke.
Yeah.
Back then, everything still smelled like cigarette smoke. They can still smoke.
I literally did. Yeah.
I don't miss that at all.
I don't miss that either. Yeah, no.
Oh, Maron, that is funny. Well, thanks for this bath time. This has been a fun sesh.
Tub time is literally like my highlight of the month. Like, this is a monthly podcast for a reason. Well, one, because like it wastes a lot of water. Two, because it's just like the one moment in my month where I just get to unwind, relax, not think about anything, not structure anything. By the way, before this ends, because I know it's gonna end in like a minute, have you seen Benji Madden's tiger?
Oh, no.
Benji has a tiger?
Yeah, I saw his Cribs episode, right? He has a real life tiger named Sam.
No way. Oh my gosh, no. But of all my friends, if you ask me who's the person you work with that you think has a tiger, I guess of all of them, it makes sense.
I saw
He's always been so exotic.
Like,
That's kind of cool. Does he post about it on Instagram?
I haven't seen his Instagram. I know my friends met him in like New York, but I never got around to asking about his tiger, and I'm just so curious.
And
The tiger is in LA though. He keeps a tiger in LA. You can do that.
In his like front yard or side yard, not quite his backyard. It's like a side yard, and like
find out.
I don't know. This is a while ago. I don't know if he still has it, but
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
Those are some fun times.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys tune into Vinnie Potestivo's podcast. I have a podcast, and follow his links down in the description below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.